Yo, what's the deal, folks? It's your boy Eeze. Hope everybody out there is doing well, having a great start to your weekend. Before we go any further, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Today we're gonna have an interesting conversation. I'm of the belief that Nasir Jones, Nas, Escobar, whatever you want to call him, is the GOAT when it comes to this hip hop thing, right? And what makes him the GOAT is obviously his writing, in my opinion, but there are different layers to writing. And I want to take an opportunity to shed some light on a key component that most people overlook, and that's creativity. So we're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna take two of Nas songs and pretty much just try to figure out which of the two is more creative, while also, shedding light on some background information, all right? So those two songs are gonna be I Gave You Power and Rewind. For those who are unfamiliar with some of the work, I Gave You Power is off the 1996 sophomore release. It Was Written, which is a classic in my opinion, back-to-back classics. And Rewind is off his fifth solo release, if you're not counting the Lost Tapes, which is Stillmatic, that dropped in 2002. All right, the producers would be Primo and Large Professor. DJ Premier Primo produced I Gave You Power. He's one half of the legendary group Gangstar, produced records for Biggie, Jay, Nas, and the list goes on and on. Large Pro, Extra P, former member of the group Main Source, super producer, legendary producer within the hip hop realm. Got a long catalog with Nas. He produced Rewind. Yeah, the concept of the records are totally different. I Gave You Power is about the point of view from the perspective of a gun, a burner, a ratchet, a firearm. While Rewind, pretty much self-explanatory. It was a story told backwards, which is not to be taken lightly. Up until that point, I haven't seen or heard anyone speak of doing that or execute it. And Nas did that. And that was 19 to 20 years ago. You know what I mean? And no one else from my perspective, hasn't attempted to do it. And if they did, I'm willing to guarantee it wasn't that great. The song structure, I Gave You Power is kind of like a traditional song structure for that time. 3 verses and a hook. Rewind is told from more of a conversational perspective. It's told backwards, like there's nothing impeding his flow, just lyrics, no chorus. Like he had the mind frame from just being a listener of, I'm gonna tell you the story and I'm out of here. So that's the contrast there. I Gave You Power, you got 3 verses and a hook or chorus. Rewind is a story told backwards without any pauses, no choruses, and no breaks. From a listener, like both of these songs have so many different layers, but the way it's approached is from like 2 different spectrums. Like when you really think about I Gave You Power, there's so much tension in that song. First of all, like I stated before, the song is from the point of view of a gun, right? It has an introduction with a gun. It's pretty much giving you a backstory of itself, right? And then transitions to being put in the shelf and having conversations with other firearms. Think about that. How creative you have to be. Like the little details. He's taking a firearm or gun, humanizing it, and allowing it to have all the same interactions that you or I may have on a daily basis. So like I said, it has an introduction, this is who I am, interaction with other like-minded or other things just like itself, sitting in the shelf, and redemption. Towards the end, the gun has had enough, tired of bloodshed, tired of killing, and ironically, the only way that gun can change is if, well, in its mind, is if it jams, which will ultimately make the human who has a gun a victim because they would die, which is like a role reversal, because some people may think that, they always say that guns don't kill people, humans do. So in essence, what they're saying is that the gun is a victim. So this whole story kind of like flipped this whole thing, how the gun said, you know what, I'm not working today, and this individual will perish because of that. I just think that I may be thinking too deep into it, but the way, like, that's what makes Nas so great, like his creativity. And when you think about Rewind, it's one story, like I stated before, right? It's told it's seamless, without any pauses or hooks, but it's two stories intertwined within one. And what I mean by that is, there's a story about him and his mans having a drop on somebody. I guess they're trying to get at him. But he also has a story within that where he's having a sexual encounter with the female. And the way it's written, like a hook would make it easy because it would allow him as a writer to break it up. And this would be my primary focus, and that would be my primary focus. But the way he wrote it is if the stories flowed seamlessly. They needed both of each other to work. And that's the creativity part I'm talking about with Nas. Like, he's a different type of writer. It's the attention to details that a lot of people take for granted. You know what I mean? So it's like an interesting story. I remember when Stillmatic dropped, and I was listening to Hot 97 at the time. If all y'all out there are familiar with Fat Man Scoop, I remember he was saying, this is what make Nas Nas. Nobody out there is doing this and no one is trying it. And that was in reference to Rewind. And the beauty of that statement and what mirrors these two together is the fact that it's the first time that you heard anyone write something from this perspective so eloquently and just set the bar. But it was a 5 to 6 year gap in between them. Think about that. It was written 96, Stillmatic 2002. That's greatness. That's GOAT-like behavior. Always pushing the bar. He could have said, you know, I did that already. I'm not even going to try to I'm not even going to try to keep pushing the bar or setting the standard. But he took the time, crafted, I gave you power. And then on the flip side, was able in the back of his mind to come up with something that hasn't been done up until that point. And I, as a hip hop fan, I still haven't witnessed that somebody write a song backwards. And if they have, technically, I probably don't even want to hear it the way this one turned out. Yeah, so based on everything we went over, like, what do you think is the more creative song? Is it I Gave You Power, from the point of view from a gun, or Rewind, telling the story backwards? And just listening to me state that, you know, utter it, one may say, well, writing a song backwards is very hard. It is. And they would probably automatically select that. And they could be right for that. There is no right or wrong answer, but writing a song from the perspective of an inanimate object and giving it emotion and tension isn't a very easy feat either. So once again, that's what makes Esco, and that's why he's the GOAT. You know what I mean? So let me know in the comment section what y'all think. Which song was more creative? It's not about which song was better. It's which song was more creative from a writer's standpoint. And as a fan, which song, when you first heard it, kind of like just had you sit there in amazement? All right, so just let me know in the comment section. It's your boy Eeze. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. And if you'd like to hear me do like a compare and contrast of any other songs, let me know in the comment section as well. I appreciate you all. Go get yours. We out of here.